David's going to talk to us a little bit about the topic. The essence of studying in the Asian century is actually studying in Asia. Over to you, David.
Lovely, thanks, Ron. The Australia in the Asian Century White Paper. Oh, near the mic? Okay, thank you. The Australia in the Asian Century White Paper makes it very clear, a very compelling argument that the drivers of the global economy, of global research, of innovation, and therefore of Australia's future are in Asia. Australia will be competing with or collaborating with, depending on how we respond, with the world's major economies, the higher education sectors that will dwarf ours, and the major populations of our region: China, India, Indonesia, Southeast Asia, Korea. And our investment currently in higher education, about 1.6% of our gross domestic product, is dwarfed already by a country like Korea, which is investing 2.6 approximately. World university rankings are reflecting exactly that shift in the power and the innovation from the old world of Europe and the US to the new world of Asia. Now, our graduates, I would assert, have to be prepared and skilled to carve their future in precisely that new world order. And in that, a knowledge of Asia, an ability to understand, to work in, to work with Asia is going to be a key graduate attribute. And I would suggest, preferably, with a facility to do that in an Asian language. Now, there is no substitute for learning those skills in Asia. Anything else is second best. We all know that experiential learning in situ, is the most effective way of reinforcing skills. Virtual experience, online simulations might be wonderful, but they are no substitute for the real thing. And while Australian universities employ academics like myself to give courses on Asian studies here, while many of our classrooms have high levels of participation from students from Asia, and we produce a variety of ways of integrating all of that into the learning experience on campus in our Australian universities, these sorts of experiences are bland. They are unappealing compared to the direct stimulus, the real excitement of actually being in Asia and of learning through the social engagement, the intellectual stimulus of the environment around us. Now, many Asian countries, people have suggested, might throw up problems because students somehow are self-selected. There are issues of equity, of cost. I'd assert that while some of the cities in Asia, Hong Kong, Tokyo for example, might be as expensive as Australia, most of the region that we're talking about here enables an Australian student to study, to live for in fact much less than the cost of living in Melbourne or Sydney or Canberra. I've sent literally thousands of Australian students to Indonesia to study. Those who go on OS Help, Centrelink, AusStudy, whatever it might be called, tell me they can actually save money because they can live in Indonesia and put aside funds for their travel and for their enjoyment. As a university, it is actually cheaper to educate a student in many of the countries of Asia than it is for us to provide the infrastructure here and the labour costs associated with a student studying in a semester. So I can provide for your students an experience which is more stimulating, which is provided at lower cost, and which is more embracing than anything you can replicate in your classrooms here. Let me give you one example. The teaching of an Asian language is very labour intensive. It's a hard process in a classroom here. If you give me one of your students, I will guarantee in 12 months in Indonesia, completely immersed in an Indonesian language environment, they will come out of that experience able to function in Indonesia. We just could not replicate that here. The centrality of in-country learning and these Asian skills, if you like, Asian literacy skills, are now foundation principles in our political system. We're at a point now historically where both government and opposition have absolute agreement that we need to have more Australian students studying in Asia. Whether that's supported by Asia-bound scholarships under the ALP or the Coalition's new Colombo plan, the fundamental basis has been accepted. Now we can tweak the issue of financial aid, we can weave into that, recalibrate it to take account of students with disability, of low SES groups entering this, but our political parties now recognise in a way that has never been recognised before that as universities our responsibility is to get our students into Asia.